Milan, Napoli, Roma, Juventus. Not only the 4 teams that are on top of the league, also the 4 teams supported here on the Calcio, guys. Gianni, Adriano, I'm Nicholas. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to listen to your favorite podcast. Guys, how's it going?
Well, after an intro like that, pretty good, I guess. Johnny maybe meta. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll get there when we get there.
This in our 7-year run, guys. It has to be the first time that all 4 of these teams are in the top 4 at the same time after a certain match.
Really?
Come on, it has to be. Like maybe the 2018-2019 season at some point, but even then, Milan wasn't out. They weren't strong that season.
No.
So because I feel like all 4 teams have never been strong at the same time. Like all 4, there's always been like an Inter thrown into the top 4 and Atalanta thrown into the top 4. Like even that 18-19 season, yeah, Juve, Napoli. There you go. Juve, Napoli, Atalanta, Inter, and then Milan and Roma. So maybe at some point they were in the top 4 together, but it's been a long time, guys.
It's been a while.
We had one of the. We did have one of the Derby, the Calcio guys, this past weekend, and there's gonna be another one this upcoming weekend. I told you, Adrian, to be nice. Were you nice to Johnny this weekend?
Yeah, you were fine.
Yeah, I think we got out of there, unscathed, even though the results went a certain way. I think things went according to plan, hopefully.
So he was nice. He didn't really do anything. There wasn't much ribbing, so we're good.
Yeah, so Milan Napoli 2-1 win for Milan. It started off pretty quickly. It was goal less than 5 minutes in, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
in
3 minutes. Yeah.
Pulisic added another one in the 31st. De Bruyne did get the penalty in the 60th. I know I watched some of the first half, guys. I know there was a bit of controversy with some missed penalties. I don't know if you want to say that. Obviously, Napoli did eventually get the penalty in the second half, but it seemed like this was I wouldn't say typical Allegri win, because if it was, they wouldn't have conceded Milan, but just the way they came out strong. Get those 2 goals within 30 minutes. How many times did we see that at Juve? Get those 2 goals, 1 or 2 goals within 30 minutes, and then kind of sit back. And Milan just continues their hot streak. We talked about Roma last week. Adri, it feels like it, for at least for Milan, it's been a long time coming to have a game like this too.
Yeah, especially against tough competition. I think if it was not last week, it was one of these past weeks. I had said it. This was going to be one of the bigger tests of the early season for Milan, and it was exactly that. Even though obviously it started well, and I think also it was just one of the bigger tests for both teams. If I'm honest, to be honest, because it's when you're battling against one of the top teams in the league, and a team that's you're fighting for the same thing about. It's always going to be a big game. So. I think we're slowly, in this early part of the season, we're seeing, slowly, Allegri's identity in this team. Finally we see Milan kind of have a certain identity to them. So I don't think we've seen that probably since the Scudetto winning year. So it's a positive thing, because like I said, slowly, that Allegri footprint on a team is being shown. Obviously it's not always the most beautiful football that we watch, but I think with a little taste of what he brought at Juve, the corto muso, we've said it time and time again on the show. Just doing enough to win, I think was huge. Obviously, going down a man, it doesn't help, but I think that defensive structure and reinforcement that he's kind of brought into this team, where everybody is liable to defend, after a lead or just during the game as a whole, I think has been huge. And going down to 10 men, you kind of really saw it. So that was another big thing. Obviously, Napoli's been perfect this season in terms of on the score sheets. They hadn't lost the game, and it was always going to be tough. And a Conte ran team is never easy to go against. So at home. I think Milan's finally made. I mean, it's still early to say, but they've slowly been making San Siro, a tougher place to play. I think there was times after that Scudetto winning year where, again, teams came back to Milano and they weren't scared to play Milan at San Siro. So slowly, I think they're building that fortress back, and making it tough to play. Obviously, I guess it helps when you have your Kurva back in the stands, cheering all game long. Even though there wasn't any like tifo and flags and banners and stuff, they came in numbers and they were they wore the all black, and I think they were that like we like to say that 12th man. So as a whole, I mean, I know we're gonna probably dive in a bit deeper, and I'll probably see what Johnny has to say, but just individual performances, across the board, I think were really shown in this match. Obviously, Modric at 40 years old, and again, I always seem to sound like a broken record saying this, but at 40 years old, playing 90 plus minutes, and just the relief and joy that we saw him have after the final whistle was blown. It just goes to show that he's not just here to participate. He's here really to play and to try to win and try to bring trophies home back to Milano. So it's one step. Listen, it's a game by game thing. It's another thing where Milan has to always manage their expectations game by game and see where things go. And kind of like you alluded to earlier, Nick, next week is not going to get any easier against a tough Juve team. So we'll see what happens, but. I don't know. I like the start. You couldn't ask for much more, like you said, Nick. It's been a while since Milan's kind of put the pressure on early and kind of kept it and then held it all game long and ultimately taking home the 3 points. So 3 minutes in, 31 minutes in after with Pulisic, he's just been incredible. Like I've said, I think it's what six goals, 1 assist. I think if I'm not mistaken in all comps. So he's been in red hot form, and Makers too. He's been seems to be like a player reborn this season against for Milan. Sorry, so it's positive. We saw Leal come back for a little cameo. I think we kind of spoke about that last week, Johnny. He probably would come back. He obviously didn't make the impact that maybe fans would want or Fantacalcio owners would want, but he was he was back in the lineup after some time off, and it was good to see him back in. But it was seen that he wasn't at 100%, and he doesn't. I don't think he was 100% fit still, even though he was good to go. I don't think he had all the minutes in his legs. So, yeah, I think the biggest thing is the defensive I wouldn't say fortress, but we're conceding a lot less goals so far this season than we've had in the past few seasons. So already that's one thing to put you in a good position, later down the road in the season to hopefully fight for Scudetto. And again, I know a lot of media and fans are kind of bringing up that word, the Scudetto word, pretty early for Milan this season. Again, we'll see. It's a long season, and it's the first hiccup really for Napoli, but I think they'll still be in that race come the end of the year. So it was a good game. It was a good match, Johnny. I think there was a lot of action, even though it was condensed to that first part of the game. I think it was kind of nervy after with 10 men after the Estupiñán red card. So Millian making timely saves when it really mattered at the end. I think another day, another keeper. Those are probably some of those are goals, and maybe that's a tie game rather than a 3-point win. So,
I mean, I'm kind of a little bit on the opposite end of things. Whereas I'm not surprised too much by this result because it was kind of like a looming thing, overshadowing the team, as I described, as I discussed about it on Twitter. You get a squeaker win versus Cagliari. You get a 3-2 win over Pisa, which was a sloppy win. Then obviously you have that that debacle versus Man City where Di Lorenzo just having getting that red card because he missed that ball. Di Lorenzo for the national team has been the greatest, and now Di Lorenzo in this game, that first goal was just all out of position and stuff. Like it's like the first goal was, I don't know why Salamakers was like not marked. Everyone was ball watching rather than paying attention to their man. It just seemed that backline was just disorganized, and Di Lorenzo as a captain needs to get them in line. Like you make these apologies on social media and stuff, and like, sure, like words are words. Get your actions in line too. It's not as if like it's your first time being captain. You've won 2 Scudetti with the team. Now it's like you have to like put your money where your mouth is. Show through the action. So for me, that was just the most frustrating part, where it's more like these goals just seem to be like, like brain lapses both times. And it's not discrediting Milan. This is not me discrediting their effort, their performance, whatever it may be, because they have a fantastic midfield, and it showed in this game, because when they went down down a man for almost 35 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it was, nothing came into the box. Nothing. Like it shows Cortomuso by Allegri, where it's like the best chances were Neres out on the corner from the box. Beautiful shots, beautiful saves by Magnan. The first one was a deflection off Modric, which made it hit the upright, crossbar. Crossbar. But the second one was a nice stretch by Magnan to get to it. They weren't giving any inches to Napoli. And Gisa, mind you, just whiffs on some good chances, but that's just Anguissa. It's not really bad thing, but all in all, it just demonstrates that Napoli doesn't have a big win yet this year, and I mean a big win in a sense versus like a super competitive team. Like, don't say Fiorentina. Fiorentina hasn't been performing well at all this season. They've really regressed. Sassuolo is yes, Sassuolo are giant beaters, but like it's Sassuolo at the end of the day. Then you have like I said, the Cagliari and Pisa game, cool. But this in this calendar year under Allegri, this is like Conte, it's a second loss, and like Allegri, just thinking about like the other, like they're both fantastic coaches. Like it was just a matchup of the minds, and Allegri won this one. Now obviously, like having injuries doesn't help Napoli's case, but there's no excuse. You as a defending champion team, you have to deal with the hand you're dealt. No one is going to give you any sympathy. No one's going to give you any inches. No one's going to give you any, write-offs when you're the defending champs. Yeah. If anything, you're held under a bigger microscope than what people are expecting. So, this game was, in my opinion, I wasn't surprised. It felt like it was a long time coming, and the bill came due, and it came versus Milan. They're like under Allegri, they seem like okay. It's like another 2011 run for them so far. So we'll see. It remains to be seen. But no, they execute. They had a plan. They executed it well. And even under a man down for like a third of the game, they managed.
I was worried. I was a bit worried because honestly, like at first, I didn't. I mean, in real time, you kind of don't think it's a red. It's a straight red, and then obviously the VAR, and they go in and announce it, and Stupinian just a stupid fucking play, I guess you could say. You cannot take
a stupid
play. Stupid.
It's stupid.
Yeah, no, but it's in the name, right? It's one of those things where it's in his name that he kind of makes that bonehead mistake. So you can't listen. Even though I think Di Lorenzo maybe sold it a bit, and that's fine, but you can't. You can't commit that foul, especially under the microscope that is, the Serie A and just football and culture in general. These in 2025, the cameras are all on you. So, listen, right intention, but and you kind of maybe take your chances with the PK, and obviously De Bruyne finishes it. But another thing I just wanted to add to Johnny is, I was a bit shocked with the. I know they were short defensively. With some of the absentees in the defense, but I don't know. I thought this was gonna be a perfect game for Sam Bukema, but it wasn't. I don't know. The Marianucci start again. Love him. He's a good young talent, but I don't know. I don't know if he was ready for this match. I was a bit. The selections for Napoli, I think, were besides obviously the front half of the team was pretty standard, but I don't know. I was a bit shocked about the defensive choices with Sam Bukema on the bench, and I thought that was a reason why Napoli went to go get him, and he didn't really play a factor in this match. I thought it was a bit odd. I don't know if you agreed, Benny, or not.
Well, I think honestly, like Marianucci, I think it was just more because try to build up his confidence, especially for the Italian national team, and like giving him a chance to, let's test your metal versus a serious team.
Yeah.
Because besides this game, hold on, I'm pulling up his match history because I don't recall him playing any. Yeah, no, like he didn't really play like.
He didn't play in the Champions League, right?
No, he didn't
No?
play any other matches.
No.
So like it's more like, okay, well, you want to earn your spot, do it against a very strong team in Milan. So
Yeah.
it's your time to demonstrate, like an opportunity for you to demonstrate, like how can you handle the pressure of with this team. So in my eyes, obviously Bukima would have been beautiful, but Bukima, whatever. But I guess it didn't happen. I guess so.
Yeah, it was just odd to
What
me. I don't know. I thought Conte would have went with that. I know who they're missing. They were missing obviously Buongiorno. They were missing
Buongiorno.
Oliveira. Right? If that's I think I don't
Yeah,
know if there's anybody else.
they were missing Buongiorno, Oliveira. Obviously, we're talking about defender Spinazzola,
Oh,
and
Spinazzola, that was the other name.
yeah,
Exactly.
and Rachmani is out. So
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough because that's almost your entire back line gone.
Yeah.
It's almost your entire starting back line gone. So. But like I said, like it shouldn't even be an excuse. You're defending champs. You spent money this summer. It's not like as if like you
Yeah.
had like you didn't have a phenomenal like transfer market. You got some good targets and you basically got the players that Conte wanted. So
Yeah. So you're right. There's no excuse.
there's no excuse in my eyes. It's just like, look, you get dealt this hand, do your best with it. You still have capable midfielders, you still have capable forwards, even though Lukaku's injured, doesn't mean that you don't have guys that are incapable of scoring. Like it just, in my eyes, watching this team, I'm like, it didn't feel believable. Like, especially when they were up for the 35 minutes, like it didn't feel like as if like, okay, they're gonna get back in here. Like I knew the message was on the wall, like the writing was on the wall. Like I'm like, even if they're gonna be up a man for 35 minutes, I'm like, it's pretty much done with,
And you said it right away after like we messaged each other after the game. You said that like pretty much word for word, and when you look back and think about it, it's like you might be right. Like I still think again it's early. This is the first big match like you said for Napoli besides the Champions League game. I'm saying just Serie
yeah.
A. It's the first one, so. You're not going to go 38 for 38. That's a given, right? It doesn't happen in this Serie A, in this day and age. So again, I want to see, and I told you, I want to see if this becomes a one-off, if this becomes a trend for this Napoli team, if this becomes something that they're going to continuously fall under, big against big teams, or are they going to learn from this one and again, I don't know what their next big matchup on the schedule is, but whatever it is and how they perform in that one, because now we have to see what they do in the next one. And again, like I said early, I don't think if Napoli fans are listening or whatnot, listen, guys, we don't think they're going to fall off the face of the earth. At least I don't. But like Jenny said, and I have to agree, just being the opposition fan here, but you have to be better, and you can't have those excuses, and because nobody's going to feel your sympathy. Nobody's gonna be like, oh, okay, poor Napoli. They're missing Buongiorno. They're missing Rachmani. They're missing this. They're missing that. Like nobody cares, right? Like everybody for themselves. But
Yep.
Conte will get it together. I think if I got again, I think I told you, if there's one guy to kind of ride the ship, it's these Allegris, it's these Contes of the world. So again, big match. It was a huge one. We'll see what happens when it's the reverse in Naples, because I know. Napoli has been playing well at home, even dating back to last season. So, again, they're not gone, but it puts a little bit of a damper on this early season, I think, for Napoli. But again, for Milan, it's a positive. They go into first place with this win. Tied at 12 points. Honestly, if it wasn't for that Cremonese game early, the first game of the season, this Milan start would have been. Forget this game, Nick. I think this the start of the season would have been even crazier for Milan going 5 for 5. So we're not far off, but again, it's a work in progress for Milan as well. This is early, and I don't know how much longer you can always count on this 40-year-old Modric. And again, I know it's going to be like beating a dead horse, always saying that, but again, he's 40 years old. we need to manage his minutes. We need him on the pitch at all times as well. So we kind of have to give that give and take. And now that Leao's going to potentially come back, I want to see how this formation becomes to shape out to be, if it stays the way it is or if it changes at all. But when you have guys like Pulisic that are not giving up on a ball, that first goal, if he gives up on that ball, we don't have that first goal. That keeping at the touch line, the heads up play to find Salamaker's back post. It was just, everything was kind of clicking. And I like I said to Johnny earlier, I was worried after that red card, but they he put in Bartisagi, he took off Pulisic, and they tried to hold the fort, and ultimately they did, and Milan goes into first place and gets the 3 points. So happy for that, but another tough test this weekend against Juve, and we'll see where that goes.
Hi guys, I'm Nicholas. I'm part of the Calcio.
Yes, it felt like the Calcio guys with Johnny and Adriano.
All good. But yeah, Milan's next opponent is my Juventus. So I'm really excited for that game. It's a big game for Juve. What we spoke about last week, Juve Atalanta this past weekend. It felt like it was a real test for Juve, and I'm going to be honest. I think they failed. I kind of tweeted this, guys. They need to win at home. They need to get 3 points at home. It's kind of like that Champions League game. You're kind of disappointed, especially a home game, to not come away with 3 points. Especially a game like this against Atalanta, where they absolutely dominated on paper on the stat sheet. 24 shots to 12, 10-2 for shots on target, 67-33 possession, and then 600 passes completed for Juve compared to 299 for Atalanta. Even the pass accuracy was much better, 89-78 for Juve. So the advantage, even corners, 14-5. Just incredible, everything for Juve. But obviously, guys, we know at the end of the day, all the numbers that matters is the 1-1 on the score sheet. And
exactly,
watching it, and I knew it. Watching it, I knew as soon as they started missing those chances. I think it was Kalulu hit a post early on. Adjic had a good chance from outside the box, kind of hit it weak. Karnaseki did have to stretch out to make a save. But as soon as they weren't capitalizing on those chances, and they weren't getting those goals early on, I told myself, guaranteed on one counter, Atalanta is going to score. And of course, it's right at halftime. Suleimana, soft defending, really soft defending by Adjic, by Gatti. Just, it's as if like they didn't want to defend him. Look, I know Adjic. He's a really young player. He's, I think, 19 years old. I know he scored that big goal against Inter, but this is a game, I'm going to be honest, he shouldn't have been starting. It showed. He was subbed out, I think, 53rd, 52nd minute. Wasn't strong on the ball. He lost a lot of battles. I think, he's a type of player that he's going to be good coming off the bench. And I think that's where Tudor kind of has to trust him moving forward. I get it. You need squad rotation, this and that. They have the Champions League game on Wednesday. But I think it was a mistake starting him. Even like I said, Gatti is another player that kind of that struggled on Saturday. Just left Suleimana all that space and led to the goal. Obviously, yes, it was good to get that goal back from Juan Cabal. Amazing story from him coming back from a torn ACL. It must be incredible for an athlete to sit out all that time and then come back and score the goal. I think ACL is one of those injuries that you hear guys talk about it all the time, whether it's Chiesa or Bremer or Cabal. He said in interviews later how exhausting it was to be out, and right when he scored it, that was my first thought, like, man, good for him. He was almost a player you forget it was on Juve, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And he comes back and he scores. But like I said, as a Juve fan, you want that win. I think they deserve the win. But it's interesting with Atalanta. This is a team that we're kind of criticizing at the beginning of the season because they had ties against, I think, Pisa and Parma, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then 5 games into the season, they're one of 3 teams that are still undefeated, alongside Juve and Cremonese of all teams. Again, Juve feels like almost like last year where they were drawing a lot. You could easily say, oh, yeah, they're undefeated in the next amount of games. They have this good start to the season.
Yeah.
But 3 draws, look, 3 draws is the same as 1 win and 2 losses in the standings. So what difference does that make? Yeah. I'd rather, if you ask me, okay, if you want 3 draws or 1 win and 2 losses, it's even. If you ask me if you want one win and 1 loss or 2 draws, I'm going to say 1 win, right? Yeah. So the past 2 games for Juve are that 2 draws in the Serie A. Hopefully it's a game that they'll regardless they'll learn about heading into this Milan game. But I do think that Juve, even the past few seasons, they have started off well. So it's almost like a test come October, come that second international break, to kind of pick it up. Another test again on Wednesday against Villarreal in the Champions League. Yeah, that's pretty much it. One thing I'd criticize at Tudor is, man, play Jonathan David, please. Guys, maybe I'm biased because we're Canadian here. I don't know, but there was another Canadian scoring in the Serie A this weekend, Ismail Kone. Yes, so you got to start the other Canadian, Jonathan David. And it's interesting. You go out, you get this player. Yeah, sure, he wasn't a transfer. You didn't spend all this money, and he's not playing. And I understand Vlahovic has had an impact, but Openda, man, he's such a weird player because he's talented, he's good, but his touches, it's almost as if like him and Vlahovic just swap talents. Because Openda's touches are so heavy. He's not, again, same thing with Adjic. I don't think he's a player that he should be starting right now. I think right now I do think Vlahovic is Juve's hottest striker. Yeah. But I'd like to see David get more of a chance. If he doesn't start on Wednesday, I'm going to be questioning things, especially in a game that there's going to be a couple of Canadians, right? True. Buchanan, and Oluwaseyi. Yeah. Right? With Villarreal. I don't know if Oluwaseyi starts, but obviously it could be Buchanan versus David matchup. I'd love to see that. We'd love to see that right here on the Calcio, guys. But I do want to see David start come Wednesday. If not Wednesday, at least on the weekend against Milan. It's a weird one. I know we've spoken about this a bit, Nick, on the show and just in general, but they have to kind of have that rotation of Vlahovic, Openda, and David. But it seems like slowly, like after his debut goal, like I feel like he hasn't really made much of an impact. Like David, like he's not been on the pitch, or he's not just contributing on the score sheet. At least I haven't seen from afar. So I don't know if he's third on the pecking order under Tudor in Tudor's eyes. I don't know, but he kind of has to wake up and rotate his squad if he wants to be competitive on multiple fronts. It's just as simple as that. And you have 3 capable guys. If Vlahovic is going to turn this clock behind and go back to the Vlahovic that we knew was talented and can score and can not only score against Lecce or Empoli or those smaller teams, then good, like for them, I guess, right? Like they brought back the old Vlahovic, but now you have 3 guys that are, I think, capable to start on a top team in a top league in world football. So it's a bit of a strange one. I don't know if it's something that's still missing for Jonathan David. I don't know if he's still not settled. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one for me. Yeah, and when he has played, he has contributed. He scored the goal in the first game, and he had the assist on Adjic's goal against Inter. So he's doing, doing what he can. I know he played against Verona. He didn't score, but when you can't score, especially the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you want to include the added time. Can't score against 10 men. I would have liked to see 2 strikers at that point. I would have liked to see him bring on David. But I forget if they already had 5 subs done at that point or not against the 10 men. I forget because I think Cabal was actually the last sub. But okay, fine, but still, anyways, I don't know. I would have thrown him on too. Like just throw him on. Like you have. That's when you have to go for the win, no? Like you're up a man, and I don't know how long that was for though. How long were they up a man? 10 plus 5 minutes of added time, so 15. Still a good amount of time. Yeah, decent amount to kind of get a late winner maybe. So, anyways, listen, it is what it is. They move on. It's not
you know, it's not. It could have been worse. I think against Atalanta, and Atalanta's been, like you said, Nick, a bit of this weird team. So, but they're slowly getting results, low key under under Juric. Even though I don't think he's a top manager. You know, if they can pick up these points when they can, you know, the better for Atalanta.